I'm on, Elisa, so you can just start. I'm already connected, so feel free to start. You don't need to call me out. I'm already connected, so just and you should be set up to share, so you can just start immediately. You don't have to call me out. I'm already connected, so if you want to share your screen, feel free to share your screen, and yeah, and you should be all set. No need to call me out. I'm connected. And you can do what you need to do. And yeah. So I'll just press myself on mute so you can go.
Thank you, ma'am. Just give me a few seconds.
So I'll talk while you're getting set up. Just so there's not dead air. Let's see. So 34 and 20 is 44, 54, and 30 and 20 is 50, 54, and then plus 9. Okay, so they did at least come back. Interesting.
Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes, everyone can see it.
Okay. All right, so the pre-market was more of a, I wouldn't say a mixed bag. It was more red than green based on this. And it started looking like it was red, especially oil. The treasuries had gone down a bit. The Dow looked promising. However, the final conclusion, however, on the final conclusion,
Miss Munoz, I thought we said the pre-market was for the future.
Yes, Ari, I apologize. As of today, after the close, I guess, this is what the futures look like, which is mostly red. Things had gone down, especially for the NASDAQ, S&P, and it looks like the Dow picked up a little bit.
This is what it looks like for tomorrow.
Yes.
For open.
Yes, for the open.
Clarify.
Thank you for clarifying that. Sometimes I get confused. For the close today, it was positive. Green. It looked green. It's green. It didn't reach 1%, but it got really close to it. I would say especially the NASDAQ and the Russell 2K. The Dow Jones 0.62, S&P 0.73, NASDAQ 0.93, Russell 0.82. And as you can see, the VIX has been having very volatile downward movement, negative 6.87%. This thing has been going down mostly, I would say, every day. Okay, so let's get it started then. La 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 la. Okay, so the winners today were Coin, Microsoft, Piton, Open. Microsoft had earnings after the post-market, so I'll jump into that too. Coin, I even saw this got up to 12% at one point in the day. So let's see how it did. If you got into this as a long, you did fairly well. So basically, actually, it looked like for until 11 o'clock, it was going up and then it started to go down. But yeah, it did go up. It did a little jump up. Okay, Softy Earnings today looks to be very promising. Based on this, it skyrocketed up from 330 all the way to 350, so that's about $20. So if you got into this at the end of the day as a long, you did well. The earnings, about 20% for earnings, revenue about 10%. Piton. If you got this at the bottom and you longed throughout the day, you did fairly well. So the low of the day was $4.74, got up as high as $5.19, and then it was on cruise control going downward. Open. This may be starting the opportunity where it might do a little bump up. So just watch this out, see if it can get above 250 or so, but it should come crashing down to less than about $1. Square, about 3%, did a little gap up, a little tiny gap up, but it must have had earnings today. Oh no, it didn't have earnings. But it did well, especially at the beginning of the day where it kind of, from the pre-market, it just went up, 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 and then it went down like most of the other stuff on cruise control, but overall positive. DraftKings, shy of 3%. It did the jump in the pre-market, as you can see. It started out, this was post-market actually yesterday. It jumped up, stayed stabilized, went up, and then it went down, and then actually in the post-market it did go down. BJ's we can skip. Nikete around 105.18. If you've been following this this stock, has been doing well since its earnings. It's just been going really strong. It'll probably get to this area, this 108 area, which is a support area that we have identified, or it may get past it to here for the Santa Claus rally. Dash, I believe this got upgraded or something, and this is why it did so well today by some analyst or whatever. So this is why it had been, doing very well. Again, it did jump up and then cruise control down, not too shabby. We'll skip ASML and Wayfee. Intel, 2%. Uber, about 2% as well. Tesla, we'll look at this, is one of our favorite stocks to look at. It's very volatile, especially at the beginning of the day. It just went cray up, boom, 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 up. If you sold here and then reverse down, that probably would have been your best way to go. And then maybe do a little reverse up here, and maybe if you wanted to, but this would have been good if you had done the little upward or upside down V. Nvidia, about $1.60%. It stayed mostly down, then it went up. The chips haven't been the strongest, but I guess it did well today. It did have a big green candle and jump upward. This has been really strong since it did the gap up, and then scooted down. But this mountain is lower than this mountain. So as somebody was mentioning yesterday, it could potentially continue to go down, but we shall see, because the Santa Claus rally may begin one of these days. So we'll just keep observing the chips or so. Macy's, nothing really to say, but at least it has been stable in this area. We do want it to jump up so we can get out of here and fill this gap. But retail hasn't been doing fabulous unless you were Nike. Rivian, I don't want to talk about it too much. I got into this and kind of got myself into a hole that I could have gotten out of it, but I didn't. So I've been holding a few shares. And we'll skip it for now. Netflix, let's look at this. We haven't looked at this in a few days. After its earnings, it did a big gap up. It has been continuing. It looks like it could get to this area, the way that it's going. It is Netflix. I'm not sure if I think the strikes are over, but this looks very promising. It is a very expensive stock, um, and it is above the 50 and above the 200. And like I said, in order for it to fill this gap, it probably will go up before it goes down. Somebody left okay, good note. Freshie pat. Ooh. Um, it's starting to go up, but I don't know why. It has earnings in 13 days. I think it's trying to tease us. It's almost very close to our price. This doesn't have that much potential. Some of the financials are not the best. So we'll just continue to observe it and kind of ignore it for now. Walmart. Wow, it did well today, Walmart. Very good for you, Walmart. Uh, did a little gap up. This is the high of the highest. So this should be a level to be watched out for. As you can see, based on this trend, it has been going up. So it could break this level, but it should be observed.
Can we see some historical data for Walmart to see past years 52 weeks high? So
This is the ultimate 52-week high right here.
All right. So basically, I don't know when's the next earnings coming, but we may need to look to see if it's getting too frothy at the top. To see.
Let me look at it. Let me look when it is. 23 days. So yes, this should be on watch, because if it does surpass this, it will probably maybe get to 165, 170, and people are gonna start getting their money, especially if they
I know
bought
it
here.
gapped down before because it had bad earnings, and since it's been doing good, I think it will definitely go. It's already gone past the last 52-week high, but it may be a sure opportunity, and I don't know if that comes after the holidays or what, but I could see it going up through the holidays and then gapping down in the new year. So just something to watch out for. I'll put it on the notes as a watch, but I was just thinking of it while I was looking at it. Sorry to interrupt. So I think Miss Munoz got disconnected, and we're gonna give her a few minutes to get back on. And then if she doesn't, then I'll continue. I'm texting her right now. You get this connected. So let me make sure she can come in. Okay. And what I will do is let me share an article that I may have. Let's see. Let me go in here and let's talk about maybe this Verizon stuff while she tries to get on. So this is an article. I was looking at some of the CNBC articles, and they talk about Verizon stock soars to its best day in almost 15 years. Verizon stock closed up more than 9%, making it the communications company's best day in almost 15 years. The company beat its earnings per share and revenue estimates. The last time Verizon had a day like this, it had not even launched its 4G LTE wireless network in the USA. Stock closed up more than 9%, making it the company's best daily performance in almost 15 years. The company's beat analyst expectations for both adjusted earnings per share and revenue for the third quarter. We'll take a look at that later. Based on the survey of analysts by this LSE group, formerly known as Refinity, Verizon posted revenue of over 33 billion versus the estimate 33.25, so they had 33.34, and adjusted earnings per share of $1.22 versus the 118 estimate. Verizon also beat Wall Street's expectations for its postpaid phone net additions. Postpaid phones. I guess I don't know what is postpaid phones. I guess that's regular service phones. Adding 100,000 compared to the 62K consensus estimate among analysts polled by Street Account. Verizon also adjusted its 2023 outlook, saying it expects free cash flow to total more than 18 billion, a 1 billion increase from previous guidance. The last time Verizon had a stock jump like this, the company had not even launched its 4G blah 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 network in the US. The 2-day surge came in October of 2008. That was a long time ago. So that was basically what, 15 years ago? 18, yeah, with back-to-back daily increases of 10.1 and 14.6 respectively. Okay, so we could see it going really big this time. So I like this as a buy. Huh. Okay, so let me get out of sharing. Well, you know what? Let me go in to find this. Uh, let's talk about this. Let me get into let me log in. Okay. And, right. Okay, that was easy. So let's see, where are we at? Oops. So with Verizon, this is the daily, so you can see this crazy gap up. It scares me that continuation, but it was a relatively soft day today. Um, hmm, and they did well here. And let's see, where are we at compared to where we closed at? So I still like this. So you know what? I may look stupid of me, but I've done a lot of stupid things. So I like putting in. If I try to get 34, 30, let's see if my account will let me buy.
Okay, my apologies. I was attacked by phantasmas.
So, so yeah. So I was taking the time to get put an order for Verizon while you were gone. I had read this article about Verizon. Verizon stock sources best day in 15 years, and they talk about how it got basically almost 10% today, and it hasn't beat that since it hasn't did that since 2008. And basically they have their earnings, so we'll look real quick. But basically, I guess they had their earnings somewhere here after market. They got nearly 10%. And so they beat revenue and earnings. They were down here at 31 and a half, and now they're basically at 34 and a half. And in the article, it talked about how previously in 2008, when they had this day, a day like this, um, this was when they, I guess, launched their LTE 4G in the US or whatever, that they jumped up like this. But those 2 days, the day of earnings, they had basically 10%, which is this, and then 14 point something the next day. So
Can
if
we look at
we
some historical data?
surmise per that, we will consider like, okay, maybe tomorrow they will continue and go up 14% based off of that. So it seems like that's a possibility, because normally I would be afraid of this gap up here. Um, but because they do have historical precedent, so we can look at this and then we can go to the 2008 date.
So my
Um,
question is,
so
where would be the next level? 35 or 36? I mean, 35 or 36 and a half.
so this was kind of going down. It's let's see if we can come up with something based on historical data.
Do it monthly or weekly. It's
You
gonna
know
take
how I
forever.
am. You know how I am with the daily, so Lisa.
Leanna,
So
just
this
get a
has been
weekly.
going strictly now. If I had to pick right now, it seems like there's some consolidation around here. This 38 level, 38 to 39.50 or whatever.
Mm.
Um,
Can we look at it a weekly, please? This is like getting extra for me. Or even monthly.
yeah, it seems like this has historical consolidation here. So
Mm.
that this area, it could, let's see.
When was the last time you said?
So we're looking at around this 38 to 40 area, where we had consolidation. We even had consolidation here, but it was going down. This is obviously consolidation going down, which, based on this earnings, I don't think it will come back down this way, even though it had been coming down. So I'm wondering if this was a shock. Let me see something. I wanted to see the rest of this. Okay, so this is okay, January. So we had a beat here. Okay, so this is why. So revenue was not that good. This was in July. Uh, so then it continued going down. Then we had, okay, so this was more revenue, but just basically barely making it. We did get a little bump up here. Earnings right here. Okay, so we had a miss here, and it did go down. And then here we were doing good, and it kind of maintained, but it did go down next earnings. And then here we were doing good, but still it was trending down. So, going back to the date where we had a good bump up where it would have been, we don't even have the earnings here, but this was back in 2008, 15 years ago. So, during this time, let me change this to monthly. Okay. So, during 2008, it had a big gap up sometime. Not sure when, it doesn't really say. But it seemed in 2008 it was going down too, except for this area right here. Um, but basically from January it was tanking, and then it had from March to May it went up, and then after May it started going down. So even in 2008, it doesn't seem like it really had a good year. And it still continued to go down in 2008. But in this year, that's when it had its big.
Well, what did the article say exactly on the date? 2008? It didn't say like a
I'll go
month or
back
anything?
and see. I believe it just said generally back in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, but since then, it really hasn't been doing well. This is the best news that it's had in a while, basically, since 2021. Uh, since 2020, it's just been going down. So it hasn't done anything really good the past few years. And basically, this thing is just something that could bring it up. Oh, that was, so, and it had been trending down. If you look at the weekly, it's still about to trend down on the monthly. It had been really trending down on the daily. I mean, on the weekly, so it could have been about to come back up. But we still have our, even on the weekly, you can see there's still support area at around this area here, and you can see it's probably going back here too, here and here. So, and I'm talking about this area, not these areas, but so just some type of support here, um, that it could potentially come up to, but basically you wouldn't want to do past 40 unless you start to see that this is turning up, but you are catching it at a low, and also where it's coming up from, you're catching it from its low back in 2010 area, basically 2009 to 2010 area, where it was kind of like maintaining in this area. So unless it's going to go back and diddle around here, it having good news could mean, hey, this is coming up finally. It's on the uptick. But looking at this from a daily perspective, you're looking at less than $1 a day. So that's the other issue, is that typically this doesn't move more than $1, but I'm basing it off of the 2 day, the 10% and the 14% previously. So Verizon stock closed more than 9%, making it the communications company's best day in almost 15 years. So let's go particularly. Yeah.
October,
And also,
October.
in addition to that, its outlook was 2023 for free cash flow. It adjusted it by an increase of um 1 billion. So it's looking to have
The
more money.
two-day surge came in October 2008 with
Oh,
back-to-back daily increases of 10 and 14.
yeah, so this was back in October.
October. Oh, so
So
the same month. We're in October now.
yes. So um so it kind of says something. So let's go back on let's do the monthly since uh and we were what's that 10, and so 10 it looks like was still a down day, and it had a crazy ridiculous wick, so it still could come back and diddle here, but it could be preparing itself to come up, but I don't want to wait 2 years for it to come up, like it did here, or a year and a half, or whatever this time frame is. So I'm looking at it just for the play for tomorrow, that maybe it will have back-to-back days. Let me do something really quick. Daily. Uh,
Can you look at it also at a 60-minute view? I'm just curious. Okay, yeah. So I would say the most it would go maybe was 40 tomorrow or 36.
uh, let me see. Okay. Okay. Hit this thing. Uh, how can I do this? I don't know how to make
Yeah.
it custom.
What do you want to do? Bi-weekly?
No, custom daily. I want to do just the custom for October daily of 2008.
Type October.
I can't type anything.
It doesn't let you?
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Mm.
um, so yeah, so I don't know how to do a
Let's look at it how you have it now for a second.
custom. So you can't really see here the days because it's too scrunched in. If I can move this here, let's see. Okay, let's see. Can I? Let's do this like this. And let's, oops.
Okay. So it's closer to 2009 because it's October.
Okay.
So I would, there it is. It's October. Mm-hmm. So it's right there on that October that it went down and then what it went up. Mhm. Oh, okay, I see it. It's right there.
All right. So we have multiple days in October. So probably was around this time too. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't do a gap up like it did before. But these were these like 10 and 14. That makes sense right there. Um, that will probably be the only days I would look at. Um, he couldn't really count this. Probably it was these 2 days then.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm assuming earnings. Oh, it doesn't have the date for earnings. But yeah. So anyway, um, keep it reset. We got on daily. Eh, oh, I need to. So anyway, so that's that. Um, we only have 5 minutes. I'll let you go through. but it was something that I was reading that was interesting, and I put an order. Who knows? I may keep it there. Let me put VC watch for uh update. All right, and let me copy this. Uh, all right, and then you can take the reign whenever you're ready. You there, Lisa? Elise? Elise? I guess she's gone again. So we will just continue as we had been doing. Um, and just talking about our stocks. Yeah, I think she's gone again. Um, so let's get out of here. I'll share my screen again, and we'll continue our discussion. So so that article is something you may want to look at Verizon tomorrow. We found the 2 days where it was those 2 days in October, like what, the 22nd or something like that, it looked like. And it may be, something that you want to play around with. Um, let's see, what do we have else? Uh, coin, blah, blah, blah. Let's look at the negative stocks since CSR at the top. Google had kind of a bad day today. Um, uh, even though this looks like an update, I don't know why they're saying it was a bad day. Oh, I see why. Because it tanked in the aftermarket. Obviously, earnings came out, and earnings looks decent, but why did it tank? I'm not sure. So it basically did nothing all day, and then it went up a little bit and just tanked. That doesn't make any sense. Um, unless it's something I don't know, maybe the forecast was worse. Um, but see if it had a bad forecast. If not, this could be a potential long tomorrow. Um, hmm, yeah. So that's why they have this negative. American, it's uh, this is one that really didn't do anything. Well, it went down today, so this it kind of just swooped down, and it's just continued doing what it's been doing. Um, and we just didn't know why. Um, it was so weak. Meta, uh, been strong relatively. I don't know if this is Google related, but it kind of went down. Yeah, it did go down, and and then it went all over the place. It touched 306, and then I saw. This is just really weird. I'm assuming this affects Google a little bit. I was in this. I got out, but it did go down. I could have stayed in, um, which is what I should have done. Uh, but XOM was down today. For it, let's look